de Bono developed a unique approach to thinking called lateral thinking. He established the Edward de Bono School of Thinking in New York, where he conducted seminars aimed at teaching individuals how to think differently. He also founded the Cognitive Research Trust in England with a similar mission of promoting lateral thinking. De Bono shares a personal story from his time as a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford to illustrate lateral thinking. One night, after attending a party in London, he returned to find the gates at Oxford closed. To reach his room, he needed to climb 2 walls. He easily climbed the first wall, but upon reaching the second, he assumed it would be just as easy because it was the same height. However, when he landed, he realized he was back outside the first wall. After climbing around a corner, he tried again, paying closer attention. This time, he noticed a gate in the wall that was lower and had place to hold on to. Choosing to climb over the gate instead, he discovered that it was unlocked and slowly opened as he reached the top. From this experience, he learned a valuable lesson. No matter how skilled you are at climbing walls, always choose the right one. He realized that some walls don't need to be climbed. You can go through a door no one considered. This captures the essence of lateral thinking, finding solutions by exploring different angles or paths. While De Bono may not be widely discussed today, he was once sought after by companies and government organizations for his innovative problem solving. One notable example involved a skyscraper in New York that had too few elevators, causing frustration among workers. Instead of conventional solutions, De Bono suggested placing mirrors around the elevator doors. This distraction kept people engaged while waiting, illustrating the power of lateral thinking. The parable of Jesus. Reading about De Bono's approach reminds me of how Jesus used parables. These stories often serve as metaphors, using familiar concepts to shed light on new ideas that we might overlook. Jesus uses parables to reveal insights we might overlook. Rather than confronting us directly, which may lead to defensiveness, parables approach subjects indirectly, surprising us with their message. Initially, I thought parables were simple examples of common wisdom, likening Jesus to a country preacher sharing relatable stories. However, I have come to realize that Jesus did not use parables to reinforce a societal norm. Instead, he aimed to challenge them. He sought to shift perspectives by approaching topics from unexpected angles. A prime example is the parable of the Good Samaritan, often viewed as a lesson in kindness and helping those in need. The term Samaritan has even come to signify someone who assists others in trouble. So, who is a true neighbor? Ultimately, the parable teaches us to notice and assist those in need. Even small acts of kindness matter, and the deeper lesson encourages us to approach these situations in surprising ways. Imagine you are the lawyer asking, "Who is my neighbor?" This is how you would understand the story. A man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. From the outset, we can infer 2 crucial points. The man was Jewish, as he was departing from Jerusalem, and he was traveling along a perilous road, notorious for banditry, akin to treacherous mountain paths or unsafe streets today. Despite the risks, he chose to take this route, leading to his inevitable fate of being robbed, beaten, and left for dead in a ditch. As the story unfolds, a priest and a Levite pass by. The priest, a respected figure and leader in the Jewish community, holds a high position within their religious hierarchy, while the Levite comes from a devout family known for their adherence to moral laws. Given their societal roles, listeners of the parable would naturally expect one of them to stop and assist the man in need. However, Jesus reveals that both simply walk past him, ignoring his plight. This moment would likely evoke unease among the audience. Priests and Levites were seen as moral exemplars, and if the story were merely about doing the right thing, they would have helped. They were well versed in the law, which commands, love your neighbor as yourself. In this case, the man in the ditch was also a Jew, making it even more expected that they would help. But Jesus subverts these expectations with a twist. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came near him. The Jewish audience would have anticipated hostility from a Samaritan, as they were regarded as enemies. There was a common saying, Jews have no dealings with Samaritans, reflecting the deep-seated animosity and distrust. Yet, contrary to the expectations, the Samaritan feels compassion. He tends to the man's wounds with oil and wine, lifts him onto his own animal, and takes him to an inn for care. The next day, he pays the innkeeper 2 denarii and promises to return to cover any additional expenses. This surprising act of kindness challenges the listener's preconceived notions of morality and neighborliness, illustrating that compassion can come from the most unexpected sources. The key point here is that Jesus is not merely instructing the Jews to follow the law by loving their neighbors. They were already aware of this obligation. Instead, he is challenging their perceptions by asserting that Samaritans are not your enemies. They are your neighbors. This message is reinforced when Jesus asks the lawyer who originally inquired about who qualifies as a neighbor. The lawyer responds, the one who showed mercy. And then Jesus concludes by urging, go and do the same, imparting a significant moral lesson. However, he takes an unexpected turn by highlighting that the Samaritan, typically viewed as an enemy, is indeed a neighbor. The law stated to love your neighbor as yourself, which often excluded Samaritans, those outside one's community of faith. In that context, a neighbor was exclusively a fellow Jew. Jesus redefines this relationship, asserting that if one follows him, distinctions between Samaritans and neighbors vanish. Everyone becomes a neighbor deserving of kindness and compassion. Consider who your Samaritans are, those you typically don't interact with. They might even be people in your family or community who hold differing beliefs. Paul Goodman, in his influential book, Growing Up Absurd, expressed frustration over generational misunderstandings. He noted that young people often feel misunderstood by those over 30. This reflects how we build barriers. We form opinions, share them, and find agreement, leading us to avoid those who differ from us. This cycle creates pride in our separateness, deepening the divide. For Christians, the concept of Samaritans no longer exists. Jesus redefined relationships by emphasizing that we are all neighbors. Jesus' parable of the Good Samaritan challenges us to reconsider our perspectives. if we view others as us versus them, we miss the truth that we are all part of one family under God. An old rabbi illustrated this by teaching that true enlightenment comes when we see others as our brothers and sisters, recognizing our shared humanity. If we do not see one another as brothers and sisters, then whatever time of the day it is, we still remain in darkness. May Jesus Christ be praised.